Today's class, everybody. It's a little bit early in the morning here, so I'm still waking up. So today we're looking at advanced idioms and phrasal verbs. As I've said many times now, this is taken from a white book called Advanced Idioms and Phrasal Verbs, and you can find it by using Google or Amazon or any other search engine. Lots of the phrasal verbs that are in today's class are in my book, so if you would like some exercises, please buy my book on Amazon or on skypelessons.com if you want a PDF. So let's get started. To buck the trend. Now, to buck the trend means not follow the trend. And it's usually used in economic situations when you're discussing a business, how profitable it has been, how lucrative it has been. And let's say that the trend in this industry is declining, that profits are usually going down, businesses are failing and going bankrupt, but one business is bucking the trend. That would mean that it's doing something different. It's not following the trend. Yeah, it's not going bankrupt. It's doing really well. It's making lots of money. So it's quite often business related, this buck the trend. Now, to slim down, it means to slim. I mean, it's pretty similar to the verb to slim, to get slimmer. Remember that slim is an adjective usually, and slim is the opposite of, say, fat, something like that. A slim person would be quite thin. And if you slim down, then you get thinner. But it's very often used metaphorically here. You might say that the company has decided to slim down the number of staff members, something like that, and then they're downsizing. They're perhaps making people redundant in order to have a smaller number of employees. So slim down just means get smaller, get thinner, decrease in some kind of way. Now, if a business decides to branch out, branches are on the tree, yeah, and if a business decides to branch out, it usually means that it's going to start doing business in a new sector, in a new area, maybe with a new product. So branching out involves going into new areas. Because that's what happens when the tree grows, yeah, the branches go out and go into new places. So anytime a business decides to branch out, it's going into a new area or starting to sell a new product or looking at a new market segment, something like that. Okay, if you win somebody back or you win something back, that means that you manage to get something which used to belong to you. Now, it could mean that if you win a girl back, maybe she's in love with you and then she doesn't like you and then you win her back. That's one way of using this phrasal verb. But the way it's used in advanced phrasal verbs and idioms is to win customers back. So these customers were loyal customers and then they went to a different business, but you managed to win them back. Yeah, you managed to persuade them to come back. Do remember win somebody over here, which means to persuade somebody. If you win somebody over, you manage to persuade them, you bring them round, they come round. All those phrasal verbs are good, they mean persuade, and again, they're all in the book. Okay, if you have something or somebody in mind, it just means that that thing or person is on your mind at that moment. So it means that you have an idea about this thing or about this person. I think it's quite straightforward, that one. So if you have, maybe there's a vacancy in your company, but you have somebody in mind who's suitable to fill that vacancy. So you have that person in mind. That's the one who you think should take that position. If you rush around, you're rushing everywhere, yeah? I mean, if you're rushing around at work, then it sounds like you have a lot on your plate. You're up to your eyeballs in work, yeah? There's a lot of good idioms for when you need to rush around. So you're very, very busy when you're rushing around and you're doing many, many different things at once. Now, if you're doing many different things at once and you're rushing around, you probably get all hot and bothered. Now, this very often means a little bit irritated as well. There's irritation when you say you're all hot and bothered. And it's very often when you're snowed under at work, you get all hot and bothered. You get irritated because you're rushing around, you're rushed off your feet. It's another one to remember for rush around, to be rushed off your feet. Because you've got so much on your plate. And so, of course, you get irritated and you get all hot and bothered. Okay, if you wind somebody up, you irritate them. And if you get wound up, you get irritated. So please remember that wind somebody up, it means annoy or irritate. And as I was growing up in this country, I heard this phrasal verb a lot. It's very, very common, so it's well worth remembering. Now, if you call for somebody, when I was a kid again, it used to mean you went round, you knocked on the door and you knocked for that person. You called for that person. In other words, you knocked for them so that they could come outside or you could go somewhere together. So to call for someone means to go to their house in order to ask them to come out with you somewhere. But do remember that you can pick somebody up if you're giving them a lift. Yeah, you pick somebody up. And the opposite would be drop somebody off somewhere. And you can also call in on somebody. Now, this just means to go, this is different from call for. Call for somebody, you're going to go and go to another place when you call for somebody. If you call in on somebody, that means you're going to their place and you're going to see them at their place. So it's more, call in on is the same as pop round, pop in, stop by, drop round, swing by. We got loads of phrasal verbs for when you call in on somebody. Okay, if you've got any questions, guys, do put them at the end of the video because it's impossible for me to teach what's on the board and read your comments. So I'm really sorry about that. If you have bags of something, that means you have lots of something. You have plenty of something. And we very often use this bags of with human qualities. So the example in the book was to have bags of confidence. And yeah, it collocates really well with confidence, to have bags of confidence, to have loads of confidence. But you could have bags of something else as well. He's got bags of, I can't think of many good ones now I say it, but it works really well with confidence. To be really confident, to have bags of confidence. Because I wouldn't say he has bags of money, I'd say he has pots of money, something like that. It's different words with different nouns collocate well. And so this one does work well with confidence. So I'm going to actually write that, to have bags of confidence. Okay, if you can't take your eyes off somebody, that means that it sounds like they're very attractive because you can't take your eyes off them. And so they're so pretty that you can't stop looking at them, or so handsome that you can't stop looking at them. So that sounds quite positive, like the person you're looking at is someone really attractive. But if you can't look somebody in the eye, that sounds like you haven't got bags of confidence, and it sounds like you're quite shy. And so you can't look people right in the eye. That's what this one means, to look somebody in the eye. And they say that it's important to look people in the eye. It's politeness, maybe, you know, it's very polite to look somebody in the eye. And when you shake hands, we think it's important to look somebody in the eye as well. Okay, if you chatter away or natter away, these are very similar. Again, they're both in the book. It means to small talk, really. If when you're chatting away, you're indulging in small talk. I actually quite enjoy conversation, as you've probably noticed on this channel. I quite enjoy speaking. And I'm often chatting away in these videos. I'm nattering away about phrasal verbs and idioms, okay? If you don't have much time to do something, that might mean, and sorry, I'll just turn the monitor off because I think the monitor's disturbing the screen a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. So if you don't have much time to do something, then you might say, I haven't got time to meet the boss today. I won't get round to doing that until tomorrow. So to get round to something means to finally find the time to do something. Yeah, it's a very common phrasal verb. Again, it's in the book, but anything which you can't find time to do, you know, you eventually get round to doing it later. So that's to find the free time to do something which is necessary, yeah? And so you might say, sorry teacher, I didn't get round to doing my homework last night. I couldn't find the time. Okay, if you make a good impression on somebody or make a bad impression on somebody, it means that you came across in a certain way. There's another good phrasal verb for this, to come across, because how you come across is the impression you give. So if you say he came across as arrogant, it means he made an arrogant impression on you. Yeah, he made an impression on you, but he came across as arrogant. So I think it's useful to remember this come across with make an impression on somebody. But we do usually say make a good impression or a bad impression on somebody. Okay, as far as I could tell, I think most people are aware of this one. As far as I know, as far as I could tell, they both mean something very, very similar. As far as I know, I think it's clear it means from what I know, I would say this. And here, as far as I could tell, well, yeah, from what I could tell, from what I could understand, tell here really means understand. As far as I could understand, yeah, that would be the same. It would be synonymous. Okay, if somebody is a bundle of nerves or a bag of nerves, it means they are really nervous. And we say a nervous wreck. Yeah, so somebody who's really anxious, who has a real anxiety problem, would be a bundle of nerves or a bag of nerves or a nervous wreck. Now, we say snap out of it when somebody is in a trance. Now, remember that you snap your fingers, you click your fingers. And so you might say to someone, look, you're catatonic, snap out of it. Yeah, you say it to somebody when they're in a trance, when they're in a stupor. When they look like they're hypnotized, you might say snap out of it. But let's say that somebody is obsessed with a girl or something like that, or a girl is obsessed with a guy, you might say snap out of it. This is an infatuation, it's an obsession. And so to snap out of something means to snap out of a trance, some kind of catatonic stupor, but it can be used metaphorically as well. If somebody seems to be hypnotized by a certain girl or by a certain guy, you might say snap out of it. But people can get obsessed about all sorts of things. Maybe somebody is obsessed with buying gold, and you can see the gold price is going down, so you say snap out of it, stop spending all your money on that. But usually it's for when somebody is looking catatonic, although it can be used metaphorically. Okay, to come out of your shell means to become less shy. And it's very common, this one. You might be surprised to hear that this is very common. Imagine a tortoise or something like that that hides in its shell when it's afraid, but it comes out of its shell when it feels more confident, when it has bags of confidence, yeah? It comes out of its shell. And so when a person comes out of their shell, they become more confident, less shy. And you might want to draw somebody out of their shell in order to, because you don't want them to be shy, you want them to be more confident and to speak to you. Now, two good phrasal verbs to remember here are to clam up, because clams have shells. And when we say he clammed up, he was about to give an important speech, but he clammed up at the last moment. That means he got shy, he got nervous, he became a bundle of nerves and he didn't want to do the talk in some kind of way. So to clam up means to become shy, but to open up means to become open, to become confident. And it means the clam is opening, yeah? You are coming out of your shell, you are opening up. So all of these expressions are related. To come out of your shell, to open up, they're identical really. And to clam up would be the opposite. It's when your shell closes, okay? When time flies by or time flashes by, it goes by very quickly. That's all you really need to know with this one. Time flies by. Doesn't time fly by? Yeah, it just means that it goes very quickly without you noticing. And lastly, to be on the cards. If something is on the cards, it's highly likely to happen. It means that there are many, many reasons to believe that this will definitely take place. You've got good reasons to believe that this will happen. Yeah, so if bankruptcy is on the cards, you've got good reason to believe that the company will go bankrupt. But if I don't know, if you think that good exam results are on the cards, you're going to pass your exams with flying colours. Okay, if you want to ask any questions, now's the time, guys. But if you want to know more about phrasal verbs, if you want more exercises, go to Amazon and buy this book, or go to my website and buy the PDF. And please like and subscribe the video, etc. And I hope to see you all soon.